Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Prabhupada Stota Sarshi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhans Prabhupada Stota Sarshi Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्णा गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय. गंगा माई की जय. यमुना माई की जय. भक्ति देवी वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय. नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय. पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. द्वारका मथुरा धाम की जय. ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जय. हरे कृष्णा धाम इस्कॉन ऑफ ह्यूस्टन की जय. द मोस्ट ब्यूटीफुल लॉर्ड श्री श्री राधा नीला माधव की जय. श्री श्री राधा गिरिधारी जी की. श्री गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय. एंड द मोस्ट मर्सीफुल लॉर्ड श्री श्री निताय चैतन्य चंद्र श्री श्री निताय गौरचंद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. And all glories, all glories, all glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sa Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotra Satrasi Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Iskcon founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotra Satrasi Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, my dear devotees. Welcome to our Sunday feast program. We shall read from Bhagavad Gita as it is, Chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, text 14. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Please repeat. Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantas Cha Dridavrataha Namashyantas Cha Mam Bhaktya Nitya Yukta Upasate Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantas Chadrida Vrataha Namasyantas Chamam Bhaktya Nitya Yukta Upasate Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantas Chadrida Vrataha Namasyantas Chamam Bhaktya Nitya Yukta Upasate Satatam always Kirtayanta chanting Mam about me Yatanta fully endeavoring Cha also Dridavrata with determination Namasyanta offering obeisances Cha and Mam me Bhaktya in devotion Nitya Yukta perpetually engaged Upasate. Worship. Translation. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Please repeat. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Mahatma cannot be manufactured by rubber stamping an ordinary man. His symptoms are described here. A Mahatma is always engaged in chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. He has no other business. He is always engaged in the glorification of the Lord. In other words, he is not an impersonalist. When the question of glorification is there, one has to glorify the Supreme Lord, praising his holy name, his eternal form, his transcendental qualities, and his uncommon pastimes. So in Srila Rupa Goswami's treatise, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Srila Prabhupada has given to us as a summary study, as the nectar of devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami enumerates 64 items of devotional service. There are 9 items, basic items, that were enumerated by Prahlad Maharaj. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. And first is Shravanam, hearing, and second is Kirtanam, chanting or repeating what one has heard. And Rupa Goswami explains that there can be different kinds of kirtan or glorification. There's Nam Kirtan, glorification of the holy name. Rupa Kirtan, glorification of the transcendental form of the Lord. Guna Kirtan, glorification of the transcendental qualities of the Lord. And Lila Kirtan, glorification of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. And here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is making the same point. When the question of glorification is there, one has to glorify the Supreme Lord, praising his holy name, his eternal form, his transcendental qualities, and his uncommon pastime. That's Nama, Rupa, Guna, and Lila. One has to glorify all these things. Therefore, a Mahatma is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who is attached to the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmajyoti, is not described as a Mahatma in the Bhagavad Gita. He is described in a different way in the next verse. And I'll read the next verse so you know to what Srila Prabhupada is referring here in the purport. Jnana yagena chapyanye yajanto mam upasate ekatvena pritaktvena bahuda vishvato mukham. Others, means not the Mahatmas, others, who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge, that's jnana, worship the Supreme Lord as one without a second, as diverse in many, and in the universal form. So now coming back to the Mahatmas, one who is attached to the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmajyoti, is not described as Mahatma in the Bhagavad Gita. He is described in a different way in the next verse. The Mahatma is always engaged in different activities of devotional service, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing and chanting about Vishnu, not a demigod or human being. That is devotion. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, and Smaranam, remembering him. Such a Mahatma has firm determination, that's Jadavrata, firm determination. Such a Mahatma has firm determination to achieve at the ultimate end the association of the Supreme Lord in any one of the 5 transcendental rasas. What are the 5 transcendental rasas? If you know, raise your hand. Yes? Yes. Say both Sanskrit and English. Yes. Very good. Such a Mahatma has firm determination to achieve at the ultimate end the association of the Supreme Lord in any one of the 5 transcendental rasas, which are Shantaras, neutrality, Dasyaras, servanthood, Sakyaras, friendship, Vatsalyaras, parental affection, and Madhuryaras, conjugal love. To achieve that success, he engages all activities, mental, bodily, and vocal, everything in the service of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. That is called full Krishna consciousness. In devotional service, there are certain activities which are called determined, such as fasting on certain days, like the 11th day of the moon, Ekadasi, and on the appearance day of the Lord. All these rules and regulations are offered by the great acharyas for those who are actually interested in getting admission into the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the transcendental world. So in his book, Upadeshamrita, which Srila Prabhupada has translated as the Nectar of Instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami describes 6 items that are favorable for devotional service and 6 items that are unfavorable. And one of the 6 items that are unfavorable is niyamagraha. Niyam means rules and regulations, and it can be divided as agraha or agraha. One means to follow the rules and regulations fanatically without understanding the purpose. And the other means neglecting to follow the rules and regulations and acting whimsically and independently. So throughout this purport, Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing what is our goal, what is the reason for which we follow these rules and regulations. And the ultimate goal is to enter into the abode of Krishna, into a direct relationship with him in one of the 5 Transcendental Rasas. So, in several places in this purport, Srila Prabhupada has made that point. And here again he says, all these rules and regulations are offered by the great acharyas for those who are actually interested in getting admission into the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the transcendental world. The Mahatmas, great souls, strictly observe all these rules and regulations, and therefore they are sure to achieve the desired result. As described in the 2nd verse of this chapter, not only is this devotional service easy, but it can be performed in a happy mood. So I'll read the 2nd verse, which many of you know. Rajavidya Rajaguyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratakshad Avagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartamavyayam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and it gives direct perception of the self by realization, and thus it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. Susukam. As described in the 2nd verse of this chapter, not only is this devotional service easy, but it can be performed in a happy mood. One does not need to undergo any severe penance and austerity. He can live this life in devotional service, guided by an expert spiritual master, and in any position, either as a householder or a sannyasi or a brahmachari. In any position and anywhere in the world, he can perform this devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus become actually Mahatma, a great soul. So, yes, one can perform this in any social or spiritual position, in any part of the world, and be a Mahatma. Elsewhere in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes Mahatma, Bahonam Janmanam Ante Gyanavam Mam Prapadyante Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. That after many births and deaths of acquiring knowledge, one who is actually wise surrenders unto Krishna, such a great soul, Mahatma, is very rare. When we were in Bombay with Srila Prabhupada, at a certain stage, because there were many complications in getting the Juhu land, and at a certain stage we were staying in an apartment in a nice residential area of Bombay, Warden Road, Seaface Park. And every evening Srila Prabhupada would speak on the nectar of devotion to the devotees. But if someone happened to hear about the lectures and come up, Srila Prabhupada would change the topic to the Bhagavad Gita, which would be appropriate for new people. So one evening, a prominent Hindu named Sri B.M. Kamdar came and asked Srila Prabhupada a question that in India is the land of so many Mahatmas, yet still India has so many problems. How is that possible? And Srila Prabhupada replied, the reason India has so many problems is that you cannot distinguish between who is a Mahatma and who is not a Mahatma. And then Srila Prabhupada went on to describe, who is a Mahatma. Although Srila Prabhupada didn't mention him by name, but he said one cannot manufacture a Mahatma by rubber stamping an ordinary man, which could refer to Mahatma Gandhi, Mohandas Gandhi. It's very important to be able to recognize a Mahatma, and the service of Mahatmas opens the door to liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Mahat Seva Dwaram Ahurvi Muktes Tamodoram Yoshita Sangvi Sangam, that by serving Mahatmas, the door to liberation is open, and by serving ordinary materialistic people, the gateway to hell or the regions of darkness is opened. So it is said, and it is true, that we take on the qualities of those whom we serve. So if we serve Mahatmas, we'll become a Mahatma, we'll develop the qualities of a Mahatma. And if we serve materialistic people, we'll develop the qualities of materialistic people. So Mahat Seva Dwara Mahurvi Muktes Tamo Dwaram Yoshita Sangi Sangha. So, the glorification, the Satatam Kirtayanto Mam, that phrase is very similar to the phrase in the Shikshastaka, Kirtaniya Sadahari, always chanting the holy name. And the verse in the Shikshastaka tells us what is the qualification to always engage in chanting the holy name. Trinadapi Sunichena Tararapi Sahishnuna Mamanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. One should be more humble than the grass, more tolerant than the tree, ready to offer all respects to others, and not wanting any respect for oneself. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. And so those are the qualities of a Mahatma, to be engaged, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam, in always glorifying the Supreme Lord, His name, His forms, His qualities, His pastimes. But first comes the name, Nama Rupa Guna Lila. And so yes, our main process is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you very much. And I think we have a few minutes, so we can take questions and comments. If you have any, you can raise your hand. Yes?
Throughout the length of life, how can one ensure that they remain devoted at all times to Krishna?
Throughout
the length of life.
Throughout the length of life? Yes, how can one be assured to remain a devotee of Krishna? Srila Prabhupada said that 90% of Krishna consciousness is association. So if you are constantly associating with devotees, then you will remain a devotee, as long as you don't commit offenses. But otherwise, yeah, 90% of Krishna consciousness is association, and therefore Srila Prabhupada formed the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to give people the association of devotees, so that by the association of devotees they can become devotees and remain devotees and become strong devotees. And that association, there's a very important verse in the Upadeshamrita, the Nectar of Instruction, how to associate. And the Upadeshamrita says, Sadbi Priti Lakshana, there are 6, you could say, symptoms of love exchanged among devotees. Dadati pratigrinati guyam akyati prichiti bhungte bojayate chaiva sadbi priti lakshana. So, dadati pratigrinati, that means to give gifts and to receive gifts. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the best gift is the holy name, but the general principle is to give gifts and receive gifts, dadati pratigrinati, Guyam akiti prichiti. That means to reveal one's mind in confidence and inquire confidentially. That's the central point. And bhungte bojayate chaiva, to give foodstuffs, prasad, and to accept prasad, foodstuffs. Sadbi priti lakshana, these are the 6 symptoms or exchanges of love among devotees. So we should always appreciate the value of the association of devotees, appreciate the devotees themselves, try to avoid finding faults with devotees. There are 10 offenses in the chanting of the holy name. We've been speaking so much about the benefits of chanting the holy name, but one gets the true benefit if one chants without offense. And the first of the 10 offenses is sadhu ninda, which means to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. So we should be very careful to avoid that. My dear godbrother Burijan Prabhu often conducts japa seminars and retreats. And at one, he gave the students 2 homework assignments. One, to see how attentively they are in their chanting, and the other is to avoid criticizing devotees, to see how they are able to avoid criticizing devotees. So the next day, he asked the students how they did on their homework. And one of the students said that she had every intention of not criticizing devotees, and hearing criticism is also an offense, both uttering criticism and hearing criticism. She said, I had every intention not to criticize, but the people I was with were involved in criticizing devotees. So she said, I had every intention to avoid it, but it was in the environment. And Burijan Prabhu said, well, you have 2 choices here. One is you can change the environment. And if you want to change the environment, good luck, because the environment doesn't want to change. The environment wants to criticize devotees. The other alternative is to dissociate yourself from that environment, and that is more practical. Of course, if we're intelligent enough and powerful enough, we can prevail upon the people who are criticizing devotees not to do so. We can gently change the subject or redirect the conversation. But otherwise, just leave that association. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Jai.
I have a question. Is it at home? Is it necessary to perform arti morning and evening, or just the chanting of Mahamantra? Okay.
Is it necessary to perform arti?
Arti morning and evening at home, or just chanting the Mahamantra during the day is enough, or okay?
It's good to offer arti in the morning and evening. Very few people can constantly engage in chanting like Haridas Thakur, and therefore Srila Prabhupada and the scriptures and the previous acharyas have given us varieties of engagement. in Krishna consciousness, including deity worship. Deity worship is one of the 5 most potent items in devotional service. So I would say do both, deity worship and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And Jiva Goswami says that all of our activities should be accompanied by chanting, so even when we engage in deity worship, we chant along with our deity service.
How does a devotee become a Mahatma?
How does a devotee become a Mahatma? You want to become a Mahatma?
I just want to know.
Yeah, well, by serving Mahatmas, one becomes a Mahatma. And by acting as described here, always engaging, always chanting the glories of the Lord, bowing down before Him, worshiping Him, you become a Mahatma.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was wondering if you can speak about how to become a manina, manadena, how to offer respect without expecting it in return.
Yes. It requires practice. Once I was in His Holiness Radhanath Swami's room in Chopati, and someone asked him how he became so humble. And he replied that at first he had to practice, and then, by practicing, it became habit, like Prabhupada said, habit is second nature. And Srila Prabhupada advised us to address one another as Prabhu. Prabhu means master. That means you are my master, I am your servant. And that should be our mood. That's amanina manadena. Prabhupada said not, oh Prabhu, please bring me my slippers. Not that Prabhu. But yeah, Prabhu, you are my master, I am your servant. And when I joined, I was told that Srila Prabhupada said that if a devotee asks you to do some service, you should always agree. And if a devotee offers to do some service for you, you should refuse. I mean, of course, there could be circumstances, but that's to develop the mood of the other being Prabhu and I being the servant of the Prabhu. Amanina manadena.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You were explaining that when one serves materialistic people, they develop those qualities. But I was thinking that we serve materialistic people who, or they're sincere, they come to a festival or something, but they're not such a purified soul, at least in my perspective. So we're doing some service for them, or devotees go and work a job and serve a boss, but they're able to stay pure. Some are, so I was wondering what's the difference? How is someone able to serve and stay pure?
Well, we serve them spiritually by giving them Krishna consciousness. That's our business as preachers. But that other situation of serving means to serve a materialistic person, and you take on their qualities. But to serve them in the context of Krishna consciousness, in the context of preaching, in the context of engaging them in devotional service, that's beneficial for you. That's not, and of course for them as well. Yeah. But the Bhagavatam says, for the Madhyam Bhakta, which we are trying to be, Prema Maitri Kripopeksha Sakaroti Samadhyama. Prema means we give our love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maitri means we make friendship with devotees. Kripa means we give mercy to the innocent. And upeksha means we neglect the envious. We don't preach to the envious, because if we try to preach to them, they'll become more inimical. Although Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that as a matter of sadachar, of good behavior, we can pray for the envious, but we should not go to preach to them, because they'll just become more inimical. It's a great science, Bhakti Yoga. So what's the schedule?
Now announcements and arati.
Announcements and arati, okay?
His Holiness Giriraja Swami Maharaj ki.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Again, we are very thankful for Maharaj to be here. And Maharaj will be here for 2 more weeks. And there will be some wonderful programs for us to associate with Maharaj that are coming up. This next Saturday, which is April 30th, at 7 p.m., on the occasion of Sri Gadadhar Pandit's appearance day, Maharaj will be speaking in the temple room at 7 p.m. So next Saturday, 7 p.m. in the temple room, Gadadhar Pandit appearance day, Maharaj will be giving a program. And also on Sunday, next Sunday, May 1st, Maharaj will be doing an initiation program in the temple room, starting from 6 p.m. as part of the Sunday feast program. So Maharaj will be giving initiation, first and second initiation to some devotees. So please join us for those programs. And also Maharaj will be giving a class the following Saturday, May 7th at 7 p.m. on the occasion of Jahnu Saptami. And also Maharaj will be giving a Sunday feast class on the following Sunday. So again, we are very thankful for Maharaj for being here and giving his wonderful association. His Holiness Giriraja Swami Maharaj ki. And we have 3 sponsors for today's Sunday feast program. Pankaj Nimkar and Trupti, they are sponsoring as a celebration for their daughter Kumudini. Is the family here? Okay, Hare Krishna. So let us all wish Kumudini a happy birthday on this auspicious occasion. Haribol! We also have another family, Deepak Pishori. He's sponsoring on the remembrance of his father, who passed away on April 14th. The father's name is Lakshman Peshori. So the Peshori family is also here. So let us pray to our beloved lordships to bestow the departed soul their shelter at their lotus feet. So Hari Bol. And also Ruchiranana Mataji and Rajendra Prabhu are sponsoring in memory